Almost every man overlooks one silent detail, yet it quietly decides how a woman feels when she's around him. And here's the twist: women feel it instantly, even if they never say it out loud. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a guy who checks every box? Good looks, confidence, status, money, social proof. On paper, he should be winning effortlessly, but somehow nothing sticks. Conversations happen, dates happen, yet something invisible blocks things from going deeper, and he's left thinking, what am I missing? Here's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. Attraction isn't built on what's obvious. It's not just looks, not just success, not even just confidence. What actually shapes how a woman feels about you lives in the smallest, quietest details, the things most men completely overlook. Not loud moves, not rehearsed lines, but subtle behaviors that leave an emotional imprint. And once you understand this, everything changes. So pause for a second and really think about this. What if the reason things haven't worked out isn't because you're lacking something obvious, but because you're missing something subtle? What if the difference between being liked and being deeply felt comes down to how she experiences you emotionally, moment by moment? Have you ever walked away thinking everything went perfectly, only to feel her pull away later, or felt like you did everything right, but still didn't leave a lasting impact? If that hits even a little, what you're about to understand will completely shift how you see connection. Welcome to Love Lies in Reality. Here we don't guess, we don't chase, we learn how to create something far more powerful, a presence that naturally pulls people in. So let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed how some interactions feel effortless, almost magnetic, while others feel like you're forcing them to work? Why she can seem warm, open, engaged, yet still feel slightly out of reach? That's not random. Those are signals. And once you learn to read them, everything becomes intentional. Now imagine this. You're sitting across from a woman you genuinely like. The conversation flows. You're laughing. There's comfort. Everything looks perfect. But underneath, there's distance. She's there, but not fully open. Engaged, but not completely relaxed. And when it ends, so does the connection. No follow-up energy, no continuation, just silence. That quiet kind of silence that makes you question everything. This is where most men lose momentum without even realizing it, not because they said something wrong, but because they relied only on words. Here's the truth that changes everything. Women don't connect through words alone. They connect through emotional experience, through how you make them feel, through the energy you bring into the space between you. And one of the most overlooked ways this happens, it's simple, almost invisible, not flashy, not aggressive, but calm, intentional, respectful touch, the kind that doesn't demand attention, but gently shifts how she feels in your presence. Think about this. How rare is it for someone to feel completely at ease around another person? No pressure, no judgment, no rush, just comfortable. When that happens, something powerful unfolds. Defenses drop, guards soften, connection begins without force. A simple moment, a light touch on her shoulder during laughter, a warm, unhurried hug, that can communicate more than an entire conversation, because it's not about action, it's about intention. It shows presence, awareness, emotional control. And here's what most men don't realize. For women, emotional safety outweighs raw attraction. Without it, attraction struggles to grow. With it, everything shifts. But this only works when it's genuine. The second it feels forced, calculated, rushed, the connection breaks, which is why presence matters. Slow down. Notice her. Is she leaning in, relaxed, comfortable with closeness, or pulling back? Those signals guide everything. Respect them, and you build trust without asking for it. There's a quiet confidence in restraint, in not rushing, in letting things unfold. Most men operate from urgency. They think if they don't act fast, they'll lose the moment. But real attraction doesn't die in stillness. It grows there, And when you embody that calm presence, everything changes. You stop performing, stop overthinking, stop chasing outcomes. You start responding to the moment as it is. And here's where it gets even deeper. Emotional awareness. Not just what you're doing, but what she's feeling. You begin to notice the small shifts, her tone, posture, energy. And instead of guessing, you understand. Now something powerful happens. When she feels safe around you, her mind starts associating you with Frau's, you relief, and. Not loud excitement, but calm, grounded presence. And in today's world, that's rare. So rare, it becomes magnetic. Imagine seeing her again. This time she's more open, more relaxed, more real. That's not random. That's emotional memory. Every interaction leaves a feeling behind. And when that feeling is calm, safe, and positive, she starts seeing you differently. Not just someone she knows, but someone she feels drawn back to. And here's where most men mess it up. They try to fill every silence, talking nonstop, thinking it builds connection. But real comfort shows up in the pauses. Have you ever sat with someone where silence felt peaceful? That's emotional alignment. And it's rare. When you're okay with silence, you show confidence without saying a word. You show you're not performing. You're just present. And that creates space, the kind people don't even realize they need. But here's the mistake. The moment things get quiet, most men panic. They rush to fill it and kill the depth that was about to grow. Stillness isn't awkward. It's powerful. And when she feels that from you, she relaxes even more. Now shift perspective. She's used to pressure, to needing to respond, to keep things going. But with you, there's space, no pressure, no expectation. That's freedom, and freedom creates attraction on a deeper level because now you're not overwhelming her. You're giving her room to feel, room to wonder, to think about you, to replay moments. That's how anticipation builds, not through effort, but through space. Now let's take it further. What happens after the interaction? This is where most men fail without realizing it. You have a great time. You leave. Then instantly, texts, messages, over-explaining, trying to hold on to the moment. And just like that, the energy shifts from grounded to urgent. And urgency quietly kills attraction. This is the third layer, the sakuromaimomi and emotional afterpace. What you do after matters more than you think. When you give space, you allow her to feel the experience, to replay it, to miss it. And that's where attraction deepens. But when you flood that space, you replace emotion with noise. This isn't about playing games. It's about rhythm. Let the moment breathe. Because people value what they have space to feel. Too much availability kills curiosity, but space creates it. That I wonder what he's doing feeling. That's powerful and natural. Now ask yourself, have you ever thought about someone nonstop, not because they were always there, but because they weren't? That's emotional tension. And when it's natural, it's magnetic. But here's the truth most men avoid. They don't trust the connection, so they try to control it through constant contact and end up weakening it. Instead, be intentional. A simple message that reflects the moment is more powerful than endless texting because you're reinforcing the feeling, not replacing it. And when that's done right, she associates you not just with how she felt then, but how she feels after. That's emotional consistency, and that builds something deeper, trust. Now the final layer, the one that quietly controls everything, how you see yourself. Let me ask you honestly, when you're with a woman you like, do you feel like you're choosing her or hoping she chooses you? Because that difference changes everything. You can say the right things, do everything correctly, but if underneath there's doubt, it shows in your energy, your reactions, your presence, and she feels it. If your emotional state depends on her, she feels pressure, and pressure creates distance. But when you're grounded in yourself, everything shifts. You're present without needing anything back. And that is rare. That's what creates lasting attraction. Not techniques, not scripts, but internal stability. Confidence isn't cold. It's not distance. It's being open without being dependent, interested without needing an outcome. That balance, that's power. So what if your goal wasn't to make her like you, but to create an experience where connection happens naturally? What if you stopped chasing and started becoming someone people feel drawn to? Because the strongest connections aren't built on intensity. They're built on consistency of feeling, calm, safe, real, over time. So ask yourself, where do you rush? Where do you try to control? Where do you seek reassurance? Because that's where connection either grows or quietly fades. And once you become aware of that, everything changes. You don't need to become someone else. Just slow down enough to see clearly. And when you do, you become someone whose presence feels different. Someone who creates calm instead of pressure. Someone who builds connection without forcing it. Someone unforgettable without trying. If this shifted something in you, even slightly, don't ignore it. Here I want you. Drop a comment with what stood out to you and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're serious about mastering attraction and human psychology, subscribe to Love Lies in Reality, because what you're learning here, most men never figure out